In this video, the 2020 Burroughs Wellcome Fund Sand Hills Region Teacher of the Year, Maureen Stover, does a phenomenal read aloud with students and art project to go with it. Come along on this journey through a fun, interactive literacy and art lesson.
Hi, my name is Mrs. Stover, and I teach big kids science in high school. Before I became a high school science teacher, I had a chance to teach science to elementary students at Eglin Elementary School on Eglin Air Force Base in Florida. And I really loved getting to work with young kids. And so I decided it would be a lot of fun today to make a video for elementary level kids using Eric Carle's book, The Very Hungry Caterpillar. Right now, I teach science at Cumberland International Early College High School. Cumberland International is located in Cumberland County in Fayetteville, North Carolina, which is about an hour south of our capital, Raleigh, and about an hour north of South Carolina. I also have 6 nieces and nephews who live all over the United States. And so I thought it would be really fun to do a lesson that my nieces and nephews could follow along and do with us. So today's lesson is dedicated to my nieces and nephews, Lizzie, Katie, and Patrick, who live in Orlando, Florida, Benny, who lives in Charlotte, North Carolina, and Katie and Davy, who live in San Antonio, Texas. So I hope you enjoy the activity that we are going to do today using The Very Hungry Caterpillar by Eric Carle. We are also going to do a really fun art activity after we finish reading the book. So I hope you enjoyed today's lesson. The I can statements for today's lesson are: I can use information about caterpillars and butterflies from the book to create art using my imagination. Our second I can statement is, I can use symmetry to create a butterfly. Very Hungry Caterpillar by Eric Carle. For my sister Krista. The Very Hungry Caterpillar by Eric Carle. In the light of the moon, a little egg lay on a leaf. One Sunday morning, the warm sun came up and pop! Out of the egg came a tiny and very hungry caterpillar. He started to look for some food. On Monday, he ate through 1 apple, but he was still hungry. On Tuesday, he ate through 2 pears, but he was still hungry. On Wednesday, he ate through 3 plums, but he was still hungry. On Thursday, he ate through 4 strawberries, but he was still hungry. On Friday, he ate through 5 oranges, but he was still hungry. On Saturday, he ate through 1 piece of chocolate cake, 1 ice cream cone, 1 pickle, 1 slice of Swiss cheese, 1 slice of salami, 1 lollipop, 1 piece of cherry pie, 1 sausage, 1 cupcake, and 1 slice of watermelon. That night, he had a stomach ache. The next day was Sunday again. The caterpillar ate through 1 nice green leaf. After that, he felt much better. Now he wasn't hungry anymore, and he wasn't a little caterpillar anymore. He was a big, fat caterpillar. He built a house called a cocoon around himself. He stayed inside for more than 2 weeks. Then he nibbled a hole in the cocoon, pushed his way out, and he was a beautiful butterfly. All right, so as we are working on our art project today, there are going to be a few supplies that you're going to need so that you're able to follow along with us at home and make your art project for the Very Hungry Caterpillar. So you're going to need some kind of paper. I have some construction paper here, and I also have tissue paper. Either of these will work great, or if you have paper that you want to, like plain computer printer paper that you want to paint using watercolors, or if you want to color something in using crayons or markers, that will work great too. You're also going to need a pair of scissors, and you're going to need some kind of backing paper. Now I have just some black construction paper here, but you could use any color you want. If you want to use white computer paper and color it in a different color, that works great. If you want to use just plain paper, that works great too. So just gather your supplies together, and then we will move on to the next step in our project. Okay, so the next step is going to be to prepare your paper. Now I've decided that I'm going to use the tissue paper because when I do my piece of art, I want it to be translucent, which means some light can shine through it. That way it'll look like stained glass when I hang it in my window. You can do this any way you want though. So if you made paper that you painted with watercolors, or if you have paper that's from a really pretty magazine that you found, or if you have some other kind of paper that you want to use, like construction paper or paper that you color with your crayons, any of those are going to work great. So whatever paper you chose, you just wanted to start preparing that paper so it'll be ready to go to make our piece of art. Now I've already done most of my paper, but I'm going to do my blue paper with you. That way you can see exactly what I'm doing. So what I want to do is I want to rip my paper into small pieces. Now I'm organizing mine in a muffin tin because that's a really easy way for me to make sure my colors are separated and it's easy for me to see all my different colors. But you could put this in nice neat stacks or piles on your table. You could also do this in bowls or cups, or you could even make a big pile of all the different colors like a rainbow on your table, and that way you could pull any colors that you want to all from that one big stack. Okay, now I'm gonna rip mine all different lengths because I want them to be a little bit different sizes. You could also cut these with scissors. I don't want mine to be cut because I like this kind of rough edge that I get when I tear, because that looks really cool when we add it to our collage. But however you choose to make your paperwork will be perfect. Okay, so after we prepared our paper, the next step is going to be to make our butterfly. Now, for today's example, I am going to be making a butterfly, but if you want to do something different, you can. So you can make a caterpillar, or you can make a sunshine, or you can make a rainbow. You can make anything you want, but for my example, I'm going to be making a butterfly. So I have my piece of black construction paper, and the first thing I want to do is fold it in half vertically. So vertically means I'm folding it in half, going up and down. And sometimes you might also hear your teacher call this the hot dog fold, because if I turn it the other way, it looks kind of like a hot dog bun. But we're gonna fold our paper in half vertically so that we have a nice line right down the middle. Now we're gonna draw our butterfly. Now the cool thing about butterflies is that they are symmetric. And being symmetric means that you are the same on both sides. So when I fold my paper in half, I'm able to just draw one half of my butterfly, but then when I cut it out, it will be symmetrical because it will be exactly the same on both sides. Okay, so as we draw our butterfly, the first thing we want to do is we want to have our head. So you'll remember that insects are made of 3 different parts. They have a head, an abdomen, and a thorax. The other thing that's very important about insects is that they have 6 legs, and they also have 2 antennae. So we're going to be drawing the head, the abdomen, and the thorax, and we're also going to make sure that we put antenna on our butterfly so that we can remember that it's an insect. Okay, so I'm going to be using a white pen on mine just so you can see it really easily since I'm videotaping this for you. But you could use a pencil or a crayon or a marker or anything you have at home to draw yours. And then I'm going to make sure that I put my antenna on here. And then I'm going to draw my abdomen and then my thorax. Okay, so I have my body of my butterfly drawn. Now the next thing I want to do is draw the wing. Now, because my butterfly, I'm drawing it on this side, but then I'm going to cut it out. And when I open it up, I'll have a full butterfly. I only have to draw one wing, just like I only drew half of my body and one antenna so far. So I'm going to go ahead and draw my butterfly's wings, and you can draw these however you want. I'm going to draw mine like this. And then you can add some details in on your wings. So you can draw in some different shapes. So things that look like this. You can also draw some ovals. You can draw some smaller ovals. Draw whatever you would like. Now I already have one that's ready to go so that I can show you what this looks like once you're all done. So once you're all finished, you will have something that looks kind of like this. So here I have my butterfly that is drawn. I have my head, my thorax, or my abdomen, my thorax. I have my antenna, and I have my wings. Now the next thing you're going to do is take your scissors, and you are going to very carefully cut on the lines that you drew. So I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit of the cutting here so you can see how this will look when we cut out our entire butterfly, and so you can see how you end up with your full butterfly body. So we're gonna cut around the edges, and you're just gonna cut right on those lines that you drew for your butterfly. And you're gonna be careful as you cut so you can make sure that you're cutting your butterfly so that it looks the way that you want it to look. And this is going to be the tricky part here as I get to the head and the antennae, because it's kind of tough to cut these, right? You have to be very, very careful as you cut these to make sure you don't cut off your antenna, because that would be very bad for your insect if it did not have its antennae. We're going to cut off this last little bit here. And then I'm going to open up my butterfly so you can see how, because of the fold, I end up with a butterfly that is now symmetrical. Okay, so that's going to be what it looks like once you unfold your butterfly. Now you'll see I also have these other things drawn on here. So what you're going to go do is go back with your scissors and very carefully cut those out so that you end up with a butterfly that when you unfold it is going to look something like this. So this was my butterfly when I drew it, and this was my butterfly after I cut it out. Now how this would have looked as I cut it out is it still would have been folded in half. And you can see where these are all going to match up with their mates. So because my butterfly is symmetrical, it has the exact same things on the left as it does on the right. So when I unfold it, I have a butterfly that is symmetrical. Okay, so after you finish drawing and cutting out your butterfly, we're going to come back and we're going to have our paper pieces that we tore already, and you're also going to need some glue and a paintbrush. Okay, so now we're back. So you should have your butterfly or whatever shape you decided to do all cut out. I also have some just regular Elmer's glue. So this is the same kind of glue that comes in the normal bottles of glue that you would usually use. I just moved mine into a bowl so it's a little bit easier for me to get to. I also have what's called a foam brush, but you can use any kind of paintbrush or even something like a spoon or something like that that you have to get your glue on, okay? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna dip my foam brush into my glue. I'm gonna move the glue off to the side here so you can see a little bit better what I'm doing. And I am going to put some glue onto my butterfly. Now you'll notice I also have a piece of paper under my butterfly because all of this glue is going to go right through those holes. So if you're doing this on your table at home, you're going to get glue all over your table. So I put down another piece of paper to protect my table. That way I can make sure that when I'm all done, I can just pick this paper up and throw it away and it's not going to make a mess on my kitchen table. Okay, so then I'm just going to pick some of my different colors here, and I'm going to use all kinds of different colors. I am a science teacher, so I love rainbows and I love having all kinds of different colors on everything that I do. And I think colors are really pretty and they make me very, very happy. And so I want to use all kinds of different colors as I assemble my butterfly. Okay, so I'm going to keep videotaping. I'm going to put some music on for you as I continue doing this so you can kind of see how I'm putting everything onto my butterfly, and you can work on yours at home. Okay, so there we go, and we have all of our paper put onto the back of our butterfly. Now the next thing we want to do is, you have two options here. The first one is you could take some glue and you could put it all over the back of your butterfly. Because see how we have some of these pieces here that didn't get all the way glued down because they're on top of another piece of paper. So those pieces will like kind of get flappy and they could tear off really easily. So what we're going to do is we're going to very, very carefully put just a really thin layer of glue on top of all these. Now the other option that you would have would be to cut out another butterfly that you would put on the back that matches your first butterfly so that it could kind of hold all these little pieces down. Now I'm not going to do that because I want to hang my butterfly up in the window so that it looks like stained glass. And if I put another piece of paper on the back, then it would become what we call opaque. And opaque means that light cannot shine through it. So I want mine to stay translucent where the light can shine through my butterfly. That way it will look very pretty and very colorful when I hang it up in my window. Okay, so we're just gonna put a really thin layer of glue on the back of all of this tissue paper. That way it has a chance to all get stuck down so it won't accidentally get caught on something and rip. And I know this looks really messy right now, right? Like that does not look like a butterfly right now. I mean, you still have kind of the butterfly shape, but what happened to all of my pieces of the butterfly that I spent so much time cutting out? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna very carefully pull our butterfly up. Now remember, it's still gonna be wet because of the glue. So you do have to be really, really careful because sometimes your paper will tear really easily because it's really damp right now because you just put all that glue on there. So you're gonna really, really carefully peel it up. And when you pull it all the way up, you will see that what you are left with is an absolutely beautiful butterfly. Okay, now we're gonna put this off to the side to dry so that it has plenty of time to get nice and dry and so that tissue paper will stick to the construction paper. And then we're gonna go back and we're gonna trim these edges so that it looks like it's all inside my butterfly. But there you go. That is your butterfly art project. Now, one of the reasons why I wanted to read the book, The Very Hungry Caterpillar, to you is because in Eric Carle's story, we see this little tiny caterpillar change into a beautiful butterfly at the end of the book. Now, I know a lot of things have changed for you over the past couple of weeks. We aren't going to school at our school buildings anymore, and you aren't going to see your friends every single day, and you don't get to see your teacher every day. But one thing I can tell you that absolutely has not changed is that your teacher loves you, and your teacher misses you, and your teacher cannot wait until you come back to school. So all the teachers all across our state are looking forward to the day that students will return to our schools and we can see you again, and we can learn with you, and we can read with you, and we can watch you play with your friends, and we can help you as you learn math and reading and spelling and science. And we are really looking forward to that day. In the meantime, what I would like for you to do is to look for what we call silver linings. So silver linings are little surprises or things that are good things that we don't expect to happen. So for instance, because we changed to online school, I've been able to meet several of my students' pets. I also got to wish one of my students' little brothers happy birthday. Those are things that I wouldn't have gotten to do if we were still in my classroom. But because I've changed and I'm teaching my students online, I've gotten to meet their pets and say happy birthday to some of their family members. So that's a silver lining, because that is a good thing that has come out of the change of us not being in our classrooms. Now, I know that change can definitely be scary, and change means that different things are happening. But you can look for the really cool things that happen or the really fun things that happen. So every day I challenge you to look for something fun or something cool or something that you loved that you got to do, because we're changing the way that we're doing school and we're learning school online. And just like our tiny caterpillar changed and became a beautiful butterfly, some of the changes that you'll experience over the next few weeks will be beautiful too. So I want you to remember that changes sometimes are scary, but we can look for good things in those changes, and we can look for fun things in those changes. And then when we go back to school, we can share all those fun and good things that we got to do with our friends and our teachers. So I want you to remember that change sometimes can be a good thing, and to try to find those silver linings, to find those good things and those fun things that are happening because of our change in school. And to remember that without change, there would be no butterflies.